Testing. Test. Hey everyone. How's it going? Let me pop out the chat here. Where's it at? What's up? Hey, my music isn't too loud. I forgot to check it. I have background music. Let me know if it's too loud or louder than normal. Just gonna wait for people to come in here. Going to do the normal design reviews here shortly. Something strange. Usually I get a bunch of comments before this. Let's go to creator or my channel. All right. All right. How to create a live streaming? Well, you have to get a YouTube account and it has to be enabled. I'm not sure if it's enabled by default. And then you just stream. You have to have streaming software of some sort. I use vMix. Yeah, something is strange. There's only 19 people watching here. I don't know what is going on. Usually there's about 80 at this point. Well, either way, we'll get started here in a second. Maybe it's because of the holidays. I have no clue. It's kind of strange. Make sure I didn't screw something up. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, it was saying, it says on my end 28, but I think that's different. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, so this is I went through and I calculated how many of these design reviews I've done, and it's at currently, this is number 17 since starting this like 4 or 5 months ago. And so, as always, just for those who are new, this is just a thing where you join this Discord server right here, and the link is in the YouTube description, and then you'll be put in the general, click on review submissions, and then come here and then submit any type of like a link to a design that you want me to review so that I can help you improve as a designer. And that's what we'll do. We'll run for about an hour. I don't always get to all of them that are submitted, but if you really want me to do your design review, then you can send in a super chat, which is this thing over here. Yeah, right here. You click on this, send any amount of money or whatever, and then just mention your Discord username that you submitted your design so I know, you know, whatever. So we'll definitely get to those. And then also today's stream, which has been consistent with the last 2 weeks, is Skillshare. All right, so as you can see, there's a little overlay graphic over here that will allow you to get free 2 free months at Skillshare.com. And of course, Skillshare is an online learning portal which has a ton of UI UX design classes, and also graphic design, fine art, illustration, tons of courses that you can take for free for 2 months using my link. So definitely check that out. All right, so let's get started here. And before I do that, I do like to check the chat one last time, make sure everything is will you take a break with design reviews next week's? The next week is going to be another project follow along, so it's not a design review. So last week we did a project follow along where we covered a specific topic. That was a visual hierarchy. This coming week is going to be another project follow along based on some other different type of topic. All right. You look like you sold your soul to the devil while saying that. Well, you know, people have to make money, right? And so I used to only do this once every 2 weeks. Now I can do it every week because they're a sponsor, and they're also a good sponsor. It's a company that I believe in. It's relevant, and it's definitely, you know, YouTube videos are one thing, but having full courses that really break things down, that's just another way to supplement your education. So no, I'm not going to apologize for having a sponsor. This is how you monetize your content in your YouTube channel. All right, so let's get started here. The very first one, I think there was somebody up here. Yeah, right here. We're going to start here, and then we'll just work our way down. So just come here and submit your designs, and hopefully I will get to them. All right, so let's check this out. I'm going to move stuff around here. Okay, coming down here, just looking at this real quickly. All right, so the very first thing that's wrong about this is the fact that we just have a simple headline, we make websites, and then need website, call to action button. You need to have maybe some sort of subheadline or an accompanying piece of like a paragraph or a few sentences, because this right here is just too bland in and of itself. Outside of that, looking at the logo, looking at the navigation, everything's pretty solid here when it comes to design fundamentals. The call to action button is pretty solid as well. It sticks out. Coming down here, we have good white space being utilized. One area though is, and this is the topic that I covered in last week's live stream, which is visual hierarchy. You have two different types of content right here. Hello and nice to meet you. And then this block of text right here. This should be probably all bold instead of just the U bold right here. Also, this is hard to read. When you're starting every word with a capital letter, it makes it really hard to read. So just stick to the more the traditional way of writing out paragraphs. Outside of that, I like the illustrations here. This part is solid. I have no problem with any of this at all. Again, good visual hierarchy because this time you do have your headlines bolded and made large. Again, just change how you're writing this type here with all those capital letters. Outside of that, the form's good and the illustration's good. All right, solid. Just a few things. Let's check out the next one. And let's see here. Let's open this link. All right, so check this out. Login UI concept. Okay. All right. Looking at this, the very first thing that I notice is wrong is there's not enough contrast with the background. I can see there's a gradient. It's going from very light or white down to a very light gray. It's very subtle. But in this area, we could see that with this background text or this background for the text field itself, it doesn't really contrast quite enough. I would just take this down. Make this a tad bit darker. I mean, not a ton darker, but just a tad bit darker so that these stick out more. Same thing with the placeholder labels right here, making it a little bit darker. Log in and then sign up. Yeah, this works. One thing that I would be concerned about possibly is the fact that your login button color, I like the color, but this has the same exact color, and so the call to action should always stick out a lot more than other elements on the page. So I may change these up to a different hue or a different lightness or less contrast, or even more contrast, making it darker. All right, thanks for that. Let's go ahead to the next one, desktop fashion blog UI UX design. I always open these off screen to make sure nobody tries to troll me with something that shouldn't be streamed live. This looks solid. All right, cool. Let's bring this over. All right. Here's full page mode. Okay. Simple navigation, So we're definitely going to more like a modern, contemporary sort of UI layout here. This is all pretty solid. We can see a good breakdown visually between these three different types of content right here. The read more button works. Yeah, this is all solid. Yeah, for sure. Okay, these do work. So, are you okay? Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of this. Everything here looks very solid design-wise in terms of fundamentals. Nice. Great. Let's check out the next one here. All right, so I'm going to refresh this. All right, so I like this background, how it's tinted. It has that hue applied to it. One thing that sort of gets lost here is this section. Initially, it was harder to see than it is now, but I think if perhaps they were maybe a little bit larger or something was done to increase the contrast, or even making these this border on the bottom, making those stay there without having to hover, might draw more attention to them because they kind of get lost. Outside of that, everything's good so far. Oh, I like the scroll-based animation there on the background. One thing that I think we could do to improve the separation of these elements, because it's a little bit cluttered right here, is separating them by contrast. So, you know, if I take these and I take color gray, that's a little bit better in my opinion. You could probably also, on a larger desktop resolution, you could probably increase the white space between the bottom of this element and the top of this element, and just spread them out a little bit further. This is a little bit too much in my face on this larger resolution, so I would probably scale it down a bit in terms of the scale, and maybe even put 3 by side instead of having just 2 columns. And if you wanted to work in more of your color, which it seems to be this type of hue and this right here, you could probably change one of these call to actions, maybe the visit button, to that color, just to work in more color in this area. Other than that, solid stuff. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to check out the chat here. All right. Oh, good. 136 watching. Glad. I thought something was really wrong with my channel. All right. Who is next? Right here. Already at 13 minutes. All right. Okay, let me drink some water. Okay. So there's a few issues here. One issue is this section right here. The logo is really it's pixelated. It's showing up quite pixelated on my, so I would definitely make sure things are more smoothed out. Also, based on the size of this, I can't even read the sub headlines. I mean the taglines or the slogan, this text right here. So I would advise whoever's in charge of this logo, whether it's you or not, to try to simplify things a lot more. I mean, this is not bad in and of itself, the letter mark, but it's very pixelated looking. So I would fix that. Outside of that, this section right here, where we have the headline and subheadline, especially this area, this descriptor text, I'm not sure what it says, there's not enough contrast between this type itself and the background. So I would make this background image, I would change it up to something else, or really just take the opacity out and just make the whole thing darker. That way this foreground text is more easily read. I would also space things out here if you could on this resolution here. Try to get things spaced out a little bit more. As we can see, there's a ton of white space under here, and it's completely unnecessary. You could even bring this up to right here instead of having it continue all the way down. Outside of that, this is solid, you know, good white space and padding inside of this container. You separated the type well. It's good contrast. Yeah, solid here. And everything else is pretty solid. Just a couple things there. Let's try the next one. Wait, that was the same one. There we go. Oh, that's fancy. Awake. Are you awake? No, I'm not. Hold on, I'm gonna get this off screen because I have no clue what's about to happen. All right, so there was an animation here. Okay, well this must be an incomplete project of some sort, so I can't really critique it too much. I do like this though. This is very cool. You know, not just having mindless animation, but there's context to it. It's pretty cool here. Cool stuff. Let's open this one. All right, get your Iran e-visa. Interesting. Okay, let's scroll down here and check some stuff out. This is solid. The one thing I don't like is, and this is very nitpicky, is the fact that, you know, this type right here for the phone number and the contact has equal, it's pretty much styled the same as this right here. I think if maybe you got rid of using this, the same type of the same text color, and maybe just making it maybe a gray, a mid-gray. That way it wouldn't compete so much with this navigation. Again, it's very nitpicky though. I like this. Very simple, good, solid headline that works well with this. It really centers it, this particular photograph. This right here, great call to action. Everything's spaced out well, and I have no other negative critiques about this. This is all solid. Very good. Let's check out the chat here. All right. Was that the one? Yeah, I just checked that one out. Not completely mobile friendly yet. Here's the previous version to compare them. Okay. Let's open this. Let's check over here. Okay. All right. Right. BG. Yeah. Pretty clever logo mark here, or letter mark. Let's see. So one thing that you should definitely do is separate this text out. Right now, and this is something I cover big time again in the previous stream about visual hierarchy, everything is given pretty much the same weight and the same visual treatment, with exception to this fact that this color has changed here. I would change these quite a bit. So let's see here. I'm a full stack So I would do something possibly like, let's see here. How do you have this situated in the HTML? Oh, okay. I'm not able to really style these. What I would do is I maybe keep this the same size and put a comma here instead of a period. And then take this. I'm a full stack web designer and developer. Make that large, at least on this resolution here, because you have a lot of space. Make it quite a bit larger than this, and maybe even push it down a little bit more than what it is now. And that way it'll separate it out. Right now it just lacks that visual hierarchy of a sense. So definitely check that out, work on that. These can be larger with more padding, and the font size can be a little bit larger, and push it down more so not everything's together like that. I like the background works as well. It's definitely a watermark type of background, which is what you want. This is all pretty decent right here. I'd probably move this up just a bit, maybe to around here. Same thing with this, decrease just slightly the white space. But yeah, outside of this, everything else is pretty solid the way I see it. So, good job. All right, who is next? Let's see. All right, okay, something's wrong. Something's not loading here in the middle. Let me refresh that. I guess I'll translate it. Yeah, for some reason I'm not seeing anything here. I'm not sure if like a font's not loaded or whatever, but I imagine something should go here. Hopefully it's white. I like this this container. The fact that you have an angle on there, it looks pretty good. One thing that I don't really like though is like when you get to right here, these two colors really clash quite a bit with each other. So I would remedy that somehow. I'm not sure, how you would want to do that. I would also probably make it so that this isn't occupying so much white space. So I would decrease the white space around the container or the padding inside of it. Depending on how you structured this. I'm not sure if you have that set up like that. Yeah, the padding, you have 35 pixels on the top and bottom, so I would change that maybe to 20. And of course, this is getting screwed up, but right here, I like that a lot more, this type of height. The other one was just a little bit too much when you're making it sticky. Coming down here, let's see. Yeah, here's going to be an issue. I actually like this, but you're going to need to increase the contrast. So I have a contrast plugin right here, contrast of decay. So if I choose pick right here for the foreground, wait, no. If I choose inspect, and it's not working. Sometimes it doesn't always work, so I'm just going to choose pick instead. We're going to get the color of this text, and the background's white, and so we can see it says fail. So there's not enough contrast, and if we want to fix this to minimum acceptability, you see it did make it just a little bit darker. So yeah, make this a little bit more dark, and that'll be good. All right, I might also take this block right here and push it down just a little bit further from patience, and maybe even make this bold possibly, or not. I think it is still separated pretty good, but I think you need to push it down just a bit. Continuing further. For some reason, nothing's loading here. And I'm just going to assume things aren't just, they're not ready yet. But yeah, from what I see, it's pretty solid so far. I'd probably get rid of this line as well. You don't need that border. Okay, next up. All right, we're at 25 minutes. By the way, everybody submit your designs for review, and our Discord server link is in the description. All right, let's see if there's any animation. No, I just want to make sure. This is solid. This part right here is very simple, obviously. But we can see they're both separated. You may even want to experiment with reversing the importance of your name versus your title too. Oh, look at that animation. I like that. You probably didn't make that yourself, but if you did, very, very good job. One thing I don't think is necessary is this white border right here. Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe remove that. Change up this color for this one because Portfolio gets hidden quite a bit. There's not enough contrast. Let's continue on. All right, so we're using some type of JavaScript scroll-based animations here, probably from like GSAP or something. When you're at this section right here, I would try to fill out something else a little bit more than just having this. Maybe add an image of some sort or do something. I would make these stick out a little bit more too. They're kind of hidden. Same comment as the other one. I think you need to just fill it out a bit more. I like this though. I like that animation applied to the image. Very cool. That as well. Very cool. I like the image effects occurring here. Nice. Yeah, just fill this out quite a bit more. Figure out something else to do there. All right, I like it. Good job. Let me check out the chat here. It's called Contrast. I think it's like if you just go to Google and type in Contrast plugin, you'll find it. It's like a few bucks, I forget. Oh, okay. All right, let's see here. Open link. I'm gonna have to take this because my daughter won't stop calling me unless I answer. Sorry about that. What's up? Maybe a little bit later today. I'm in the middle of a live stream right now. All right, bye. She wants me to build a Hatchimal house for her Hatchimals. You gotta be kidding me. I'm not a carpenter. I'm gonna try though. All right. So all right, taking a look at this. Let's see here. We got some big issues. First of all, these buttons right here do not stand out at all. You really want them to contrast with the background as much as possible. This light gray right here and this light blue. No. I would change that big time to something else. Like, let's see if I could change it here real quick. Where's the color? Move things up. Background color. We're going to change this to, just for now, I'll say blue. And then let's get rid of the border. We don't want a border either. And then, change this blue to like, I mean, based on your current color, you could do something like this, or if you wanted more color, something like that. Even you can go lighter, but where it was before, no, you don't want that. Looks like there's some sort of emboss effect that's occurring on there. I would get rid of that as well. And then also separate out this. This kind of gets hidden. This should be larger on this resolution. And I would say the same thing with this right here. This L, you can't even see it. I thought it was AMDA Studio. So you want to definitely work on that part. All I probably make this type just a little bit smaller to separate it out a little bit more. And also this gray, it's a little bit too dark. I would make it lighter. That's cool. Probably space things out a little bit more. I would put more white space between these 4 elements and make the type just a little bit smaller. All right, so I think if you worked on those few things, you would definitely improve the design as it is. So thanks for submitting. Who is that? Daniel, let's see. Did I open that one already? Yes, I did. I'm losing my space here. I think this is the one I just, yeah, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me check out the chat before continuing. All right, so before we continue, because we're already halfway through at 31 minutes, again, we're just doing design reviews. If you want your design reviewed, go to the Discord server. The link's in the description. Go to the reviews of submissions and then submit your link or your design or whatever here, and I will design them. I'm not going to get to all of them, unfortunately. It doesn't look like. And if you really want me to review your design, just send in a super chat right here, like that, and mention your Discord username. And I know I'm sounding redundant if you already heard this spiel, but new people keep coming in. And also, of course, this stream is sponsored by Skillshare.com, which I also mentioned earlier as well. And Skillshare is a site where you can, for especially if you join with my free link, you can get the first 2 months free, and you get access to a ton of courses in UI, UX, graphic design. Definitely take advantage of that. All right, let's get back to the reviews. Okay, I think this is the next one. Yeah, let's translate it. Studio colors and haircuts. All right. Okay, let's go down. Just kind of looking at what's happening here. Okay, so first, I see how you're going after the monochrome feel, the black and white feel, but I definitely think the Learn More button versus the Sign Up button should be styled differently by default. So I would also push them down away from this section a little bit more, and probably increase the scale quite a bit. Not too much though. And so what I would do is Sign Up, it seems to be like it would be the most important thing that you want people to do. So make it white like this by default, and that way you create a priority over this visually, as opposed to just them being equal like that. Outside of that, this works pretty well. One thing over here, notice how the employees are pretty close to this text. I would probably create more white space between these 2 elements. Also, you actually have 3 different elements here. We have About Us, we have Welcome to our website, and then we have this paragraph of text. So I think these need separated out differently from each other. Or just get rid of About Us and just say Welcome to our website, or get rid of Welcome to our website and just keep About Us. And you'll simplify things a lot, because this is on its own line right here, and it's just throwing things off just slightly. So for instance, if I go in there, I think this will look like 1,000 times better. Maybe not 1,000 times better, but definitely better. So just by simplifying it that much, it works quite well. And I probably move it up just maybe to around here as opposed to down here. And because you do have the space, you could probably increase the line height between them just a little bit. Also, if you can, This one's not too bad. Just looking at the background, but that first one, we have like a shadow. I don't like that, so I would try to stick to one where there's no shadow with these girls. Do these go anywhere? Okay, no. If these don't go anywhere, I wouldn't even make it a clickable a pointer like this. I just leave it like this, a regular mouse pointer, or cursor rather. That way, because people think they're supposed to be able to click on it, but it doesn't take them anywhere. Other than that, I like this. This is pretty solid here. One thing that's a little bit thrown off is notice the amount of white space or the padding between a photo and the bottom of this container element, this background right here. And then notice how much white space you have from here to here. You've almost tripled it. So to keep things consistent in your containers, I would definitely move this up to around here. Other than that, I like this this whole section right here. I like the design. Looks pretty solid. And there we go. All right, thanks for submitting that. Check out the next one. All right, let's refresh that, check that out. Ooh, I like the animation there. I'm just clicking around just to see what's happening. I gotta get me one of those. I'm gonna start doing my tutorials in this. How much is that? Let me go back here to the home page. This right here should take us to the home page, this being linked. Outside of just having home, a lot of people expect to be able to click on a logo and take them to the home page. Let's go down here. This read more button is pretty funky. I'm not sure if I like that. It's strange. It reminds me of a mouth or a mustache of some sort. I'm not sure if I would use that. I mean, I understand you're trying to go for a certain aesthetic based on the type of clothing and the style here, but I would, yeah, this is a little bit too much for me. Let's come down here and see what else is happening. I like the thumbnails here. They're spaced out pretty well. This isn't too bad. Subscribe to newsletter. I don't know. It's a little bit too much of an afterthought sort of. It's kind of a funky place to put it. A lot of times people will, instead of putting that in a footer, they'll maybe just put a section down here on the bottom of the pages in this regular content area for that. But outside of that, in this button, I'm thinking that there's a lot of text here that's stretched out a long way on this resolution, so I would think about possibly bringing things in a little bit and condensing them. But outside of that, all the animations are really cool. It's pretty solid. All right. Thanks for that. Let's check this out, make sure everything else is going good here. Skeeto. Yeah, you could just send PayPal to Gary@GarySimon.net. Let me know once you've done that, and before the stream is over, I'll check out it and send in along with the message your Discord username based on what you sent. Okay, so who is next? No, we just did that one. Thank you. All right, let's open this. All right, here's the next one. All right. Let's refresh. Okay, just a few things here. I think these need to be spaced out more white space between these elements, and definitely increase the contrast. If I use my contrast plugin and I inspect this, it fails. So if we try to auto it to at least minimum, which is AA, AAA is like maximum, it's telling you to make it black. I would probably make it white. So let me let's see here. Pull all these up. Yeah, make it white. Maybe even make it a little bit smaller and then bold it. And then also space them out further. Also, right here, based on this background image and sort of how the color changes from darker to lighter, when you get to right here is fine. There's a lot of contrast here, but when you get to this section, it's throwing my eyeballs off. It's a weird, there's not enough contrast and it's strange looking. So I would try to just take this whole image and then just make it darker. And that way there's more of a solid contrast between the top and the bottom right here. Welcome to my webpage. That it gets lost. The webpage is hard to read based on where it's at currently. So I would bold this up, maybe make it slightly darker. And then also consider, do you want to really say welcome to my webpage? Probably not. You know, people know they're welcome already. I would put something else here, a more effective ad copy. As far as web developer, this seems pretty. Yeah, this is okay. Contact me. This works well. It contrasts well. Let me get rid of this. All right, so this is all pretty solid up here, but then we get to here, and I don't know about this. This about me type that you're using, the font, I don't really like it. Because you had a nice, real simple, solid font right here. I think you should stick with that as opposed to something, you know, more flamboyant like this, like a script font. This section right here, which is it looks like a play off of a conversation of some sort. I might want to see that reworked somehow. This gray right here, I might want to change that to something lighter. Get rid of the drop shadow, or if you're going to keep it, don't make it stick out so much. Make it really light to where you can barely see it. And then there's not a lot of white space between this here and this here. So on this resolution, I would increase that. And I would also make this gallery right here. Definitely make sure that you don't have something hanging off like this big white space at the end. So, you know, work with your CSS properties and values so that these extend fully and you don't have this issue over here. I do like the hover over here as well, though. The fact that you're changing the hue to like your color. Again, same comments about this and the lack of white space between these sections. This is pretty good. And then this color, this gray, this mid gray, I would either make it much darker or make it much lighter. All right, because also you can see that this submit button just kind of gets hidden down there. There's not a lot of contrast. So thanks for that. Let me check the chat, make sure everybody's still alive here. Let's see. All right. Okay, so let's see. There's no sort of... Okay, we got some issues here. All right, so this is a hero section, as it's referred to as commonly, where you have your photograph, and then you have a headline, a subheadline, and like a little scroll icon. This should be underneath this, which is your navigation and your logo. So definitely push that up. Don't try to be too unique like this, because it will confuse people. People want to be, they should first see your logo up here or somewhere at the top, along with the navigation. Outside of that, let's see here. Also, the colors here, for instance, we had the same sort of situation in the last example. This bar, this greenish, it doesn't contrast enough with the other elements, like the hero section. We can see there's just hardly any contrast, and it breaks the flow of the design. It's just like you're not sure where you should look. And so the navigation's one area that should definitely be something that's, you know, not clouded in confusion in terms of the lack of contrast in certain areas. So I would definitely change that up. Maybe use this green color that's right here for these as the background here, and make these white, and then push everything up as well. If you did that, you would have to change how, you know, the colors of your logo possibly as well. So you're gonna have to rework it ideally. So who we are, let's see here. I would get rid of who we are. It's redundant because you already have it right here, and then just move stuff up a bit. That's interesting. That's pretty cool, but we have an issue here obviously because it's going over the type just a bit. So I would scale that down. You can still keep the effect, but scale it down a little bit. Get rid of the big soft drop shadow there as well, or make it very light. I would get rid of these are some of the many services we provide. It's unnecessary, so I would get rid of that. And then this get a quote section really needs to be reworked as well. This is hard to read based on this background. Like right here, it's just there's too much stuff happening in the background, so I rework that. The submit button needs to be changed first to cursor pointer because it's not changing at all. What I ultimately suggest is just going to Google, type landing page gallery inspiration or landing page gallery designs or something like that, and you know, get some ideas in terms of layout and such to help you rework this just a bit. There's some things that you're doing that are right, but there's areas that I think could definitely be improved. This isn't too bad right here. And the fact that this form, for instance, is spanning all the way out this long, I would condense that in on this resolution. All right, thanks for that. All right. Okay, where are we at? 47 minutes. Wow. Time flies. Who was that? Great. Okay. So I'm definitely not going to get to all of them again. So if you want to send a super chat, I will definitely do yours before we conclude. I think I'll do probably like 2 more after this and we'll be done. All right. So let's refresh this, see if there's any sort of animation. Nope, there isn't. All right. What's happening? I'm trying to hit Control A to select any text, and I don't. Whoa. All right. So this is just a video. The problem is, depending on where it was at, it didn't load at all. So there should be some sort of loading indicator for that. So first of all, this image right here, and this text especially that's on top of it, which is probably the same image, you can see it's very blurry and it's pixelated looking. So I would definitely change that, make that more crisp looking. It's a pretty cool effect, but this right here, this call to action button, I would change that type, that font, assuming there's not a different one, it's simply not loading, and also cursor pointer, because this is a button. And I see that you have some sort of drop shadow on this button that's occurring here, but it just doesn't look good with the background, so I would remove that as well. What is this? Again, that should be cursor pointer. But yeah, thanks for that submission. Let's see who else here. All right, I'm going to do this one and maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll see. All right. A lot of green here. All right. First of all, the side bar right here, it's hard to read these. I'm not even sure if they would pass the contrast test right here. I don't think inspect's gonna work, so we're gonna have to pick it instead. Which this is, yeah, this is white. So the background, I'm gonna have to pick that. It's right here. It fails. As you can see, it fails with the white foreground and this background color. It's hard to see these. So if I hit, let's see, auto. Well, these are already white. So what this basically means is that you have to take this whole section right here. I would get rid of the fact that there's a gradient here. I don't think it works well or adds anything to it. And take this and make it darker, or you know, maybe just give these a background, kind of like how it is on hovered, but make it darker instead of this color that you currently have. Outside of that, we can see there's drop shadows here. I'd make those much more subtle or get rid of them completely. This section right here, we could probably make it larger in this area, and separate these out a little bit more. I would just make this larger probably. What else is happening here? Sorry, I'm burping. This is pretty solid right here. I would get rid of the green stroke on these. It's unnecessary. If anything, a really light gray. All right, thanks for that. Just a couple small things. I might also change this to something else other than a green, or a real dark green, or something else, because there's just too much green occurring here, especially when you're at the main landing page part, or the part where there's a hero section. Let's do the next one. Check my YouTube chat here. All right. Who do I have? Yep, we have 51 minutes here. I'll do this one, and then one more after this, and then we'll conclude. All right, so on this resolution, we could see, or any really, let me drag this in. Yeah. This here needs definitely pushed way out to the right. It's way too close to that sidebar. So I would take this and let's see where we're at here. Padding left, something like, I don't know, 80 pixels. And that is a lot better. Also, that's disorienting. I wasn't expecting that. If you do this, I would definitely make the blue copies of the name less contrast, so something very close to the background color, maybe just slightly lighter. But this should be kind of moved up a little bit, and then this icon should be moved up closer to it, maybe make it a little bit smaller, and then on a move as well the about, services, experience, skills, portfolio, etc. I'm usually not a fan when you have a left aligned column of having your links centered like this. I would put them all in the same area, left align them with some padding right here, and maybe separate this whole navigation section by giving them this whole section its own slightly different background, not color. I would stick with the same hue, but just make it lighter or darker to frame it better. Because right now it's just there's not much structure within these three sections. But I can click on services, see what else is happening here. This isn't too bad. I would probably, let's see, scale down the size of these just a bit, and then push this down away from this just a little bit more to separate things out. It looks a little bit cluttered the way it is, but just minute changes would help with that though. Like, let's see. Like if I come down here, we could probably change the color here to something just a little bit, just barely a little bit lighter, like that. Oh, look at that, 666. What is happening here? And then take it like a margin top. Yeah, separating it out, look like that a little bit. And also Let me get out of there. Also, notice how there's nothing over here. You can space things out. So structure, use your CSS properties to spread things out a little bit more because you have the room, but there's just nothing happening over here. So definitely space things out more in that manner. All right. I'm going to do one more review unless we get a super chat or whatever. And then we'll conclude. So who was that? That was Omerco. Let's see. All right. Jimmy Carter. Let's see. Okay. All right. Very cool sort of, a background hero section. I like it because it works. It's not too distracting, and it's blurred out, and there's not a ton of contrast where it's conflicting with these foreground elements right here, so it works. To make something great thing right here, I would just stick that over here more so. I can see we have a scroll down thing right here. See, we have like a parallax effect occurring right there. This is pretty solid so far. These look like they're images, and along with the web technologies, possibly. They're just okay. They're not. Because when I hover over them, I can read them more easily, but when they're not hovered over, it just looks kind of blurry to me and hard to read. So I would improve the labels right here. There's also large amounts of white space, so I would, on this resolution, I would take this up right around here, because you don't want people scrolling too much, because it happened right here as well. Way too much space, I would say, is right there. Other than that, this is pretty cool. I like this. And yeah, awesome, awesome stuff. Okay, so that is it, unless we get a super chat. And, you know, if you were one of the people that submitted, there's quite a few people who did, and you want me to do it, send in a couple bucks or whatever, and I will do your review. In the meantime, I'm just going to one more time mention the sponsor and also talk about next week. So next week is another live stream Friday, either 11 or 11:30 a.m. And to get that time, just go to Discord and hang out here in the Discord channel. I'm here, and a bunch of other people are as well. I think we have a lot of people. Like right now, there's about 250 people online. And then, yeah, I always announce when these live streams are, and the next one's going to be a project follow along, which is what we did last week, where you people are encouraged to follow along with some sort of design and or coding related project to learn something. And then the week after that will be another design review. So 2 weeks from now will be another one of these. So I go back and forth now. And also, this is all pretty much possible by my new sponsor for these live streams, which is Skillshare.com. And you can see by the graphic overlay over here that you can get 2 free months for free. Definitely check that out. There's a lot of UI, UX courses here that you can take completely free. So how can you beat that? All right, I'm going to check the comments here, maybe respond to any questions that we see. Thank you. Yeah, that's not happening. I have a lot of work to do, so these live streams are just on Fridays. SEO optimization. I mean, it's kind of outside the scope of this tutorial, or not tutorial, but this channel. whenever I do that, it just performs really crappily. Like, you know, it's not the niche that YouTube has identified me as being in, so I generally prefer to stay away from that. Plus, I'm not an SEO expert by any means, although I did get my site, Coursetra.com, up to about 8,000 visitors a day. Sorry, I'm not doing another one unless somebody within the next 10 seconds pays for one for a super chat. My throat is raw. I don't like talking often for such a long period of time. I don't know how those people do it who are like on the radio. That logo, Schoomatic. That's not bad. Not bad. All right, everyone. Yeah, definitely check out Discord as well as this Discord server. I'm always idle in here. We have now self-assignable roles, so you can assign yourself as a front-end dev or a back-end or your full stack. I might make more rules in the future. But yeah, hang out, chat with others, and check out the sponsor, Skillshare.com, to get your 2 free months free. And I will see you guys next week. And also, of course, with the regular tutorials that are released at least twice through Monday through Thursday. I'll see you guys soon. All right, goodbye.